10?
Thank you. Item 10 on the agenda is the appointments to boards, citizen boards, committees, and commissions. We have 3 applications to 3 different committees. One is for the Solid Waste Task Force. The application is from Jim Satcher as a representative of the recycling industry. The next is for the Parks and Recreation Commission, and that application is from Alice Montgomery. She served last year as the District 3 representative. And one is for the IHSS Advisory Committee. One application from Vicki Mills as a member of the general public.
Okay. Any public comments? Board comments? Can I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Okay, second. So I have a motion by Supervisor Kearney, second by Supervisor Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Down to 11.
Item 11 is an item regarding providing a paper agenda packet in the boardroom during board meetings. Last year, the board gave direction to staff to provide a paper version of the agenda packet in a binder in the boardroom during board meetings. There's many reasons why this isn't practical and could be cost prohibitive. A hard copy of the agenda packet was made available in the board clerk administrative office for review by the public at any time. In the past 5 years, there has been less than a half a dozen times that anyone requested to look at that agenda. It was a conscious decision not to have a hard copy of the packet available in the boardroom, specifically for the reason that someone could pick it up and monopolize it for their own use, as well as be a distraction. It is commonly known that the agenda packet can sometimes be very lengthy, recently totaling over 1,300 pages. And if the practice of printing a hard copy continues, budgeting accordingly should be considered. The fact is, printing a hard copy packet that is thrown away as soon as the meeting is over is wasteful, and to avoid wastefulness such as this, is one of the main reasons we went with an electronic and paperless agenda management system. The cost to print out a one-sided black and white page is 5 cents, and a one-sided color page is 15 cents. If the page is printed double-sided, the cost is double. For example, that 1,300-page agenda packet without any color would be a cost of $65. On meeting days, it's customary for the clerk of the board to be in the boardroom at least 30 minutes prior to the start of the meeting with an iPad available for anyone who would like to review an item prior to the meeting and answer any questions the public might have. There is an additional electronic tablet in the administrative office for anyone to review the agenda upon posting and publication, and the staff is always willing to print out a specific item should someone request one. Staff makes every attempt to assist the public in obtaining agenda packet information while helping the board to remain open and transparent at all times. A decision to not provide a hard copy in the boardroom is not counterintuitive to the requirements of the Brown Act. In fact, the Brown Act allows for a legislative body to establish a fee to recover the cost of providing a hard copy of the agenda packet to anyone submitting a request for notice. This notice is good for 1 calendar year and must be filed with the legislative body on January 1st of each year. The agenda is available to board members, staff, and the public at the same moment upon publication and posting on the county's website. This posting and the posting of the agenda online at the physical agenda outline, at the physical location of the meeting meets the Brown Act requirement. Staff reports and information provided in addition to the outline agenda are not part of that Brown Act requirement. So I'm asking that the board discontinue the direction to print a hard copy packet.
Any public comments?
My name is Peter Race from Jenny Lynn. First question is, since when does the staff decide to do or not to do something that the board approved? I'd like to know when that's established and who made that policy. That's one thing. The other thing is that Now, you folks are very good about having a 1,000-page agenda item. And I really respect, I'm glad that you can comprehend and research what's in the 1,000-page agenda item. Because the only people that are responsible and accountable what's in that agenda that you approve or disapprove is you. Staff never going to be called up or held accountable. First of all, look at what happened when a little agenda thing that's kind of disappeared. When the FEMA issue, flooding zone, I'm sure you have the copies of when that the Board of Supervisors decided to have $6,000, $7,000 properties under flood zone. Now, it's not the question how many people are going to use it or when they're going to use it and how they're going to use it. The question is, should that be available to the public, even if it's one item? Because even one item, you have 300-400 pages on there. And I don't believe that somebody from one specific item going to come up there a half hour before or 15 minutes before the board starts working, that they can be copied out, read it, comprehend it, and now everybody as smart as you folks that you can make a decision that you're going to be liable for. What I want to know, who holds the leash? Who's yanking your leash? Is the staff make a decision for you from one day to another? Did you approve it? Did you know what? That they came to you before or after? Folks, your taxpayer is by accident, somebody you all know happened to read one of those little items. It's no big deal. It's about 300-400 pages.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Then it said HUD. You're required to be complied with HUD. And I'm sure you folks know exactly what it meant, because you would be held accountable. It was brought up, and I'm sure you studied it. Folks, when you get a 1,000-page agenda put to you, because you only meet twice a month, it's not fair to you, it's not fair to the public. I don't care what kind of phony headlines you have. When you get into the meat of it, the headline is a propaganda. Oh, general fund's not going to be affected. Well, folks,
Thank you, Peter.
your constituents is more than just the general funds.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome. Thank you.
If I may, when Ms. Severud returned from her leave, she wasn't aware of the change in the policy and had not made copies of the agenda. What we did notice over the past year was that the hard copy of the agenda was being used very limited by just one or two people. What Ms. Severud was explaining was that just like with the board, when we post the agenda on Wednesdays, it's available to the public that they can read to whatever extent online from Wednesday until the following Tuesday board meeting. They also have that amount of time to come into the administrative office, and if there is a particular item on there, they can request a copy of that item. And so instead of putting forth, I mean, the main reason, as we explained to the board, that we went with IQM2 and an electronic agenda system was to increase the transparency, make that all available to the public on the Wednesday before the board. If they want to come in and they want to look at it, they can either look at it online or request a printout, so they can have from Thursday morning until Tuesday to read that 300-page document or all 1,300 pages.
All right, any other public comments? Ward?
Sounds good to me. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Approve the request to
Yeah.
not do the paper.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a motion by Supervisor Wright, second by Supervisor Ponte. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. So passes 3-2.
Thank you.
Consent agenda. Consent agenda items are expected to be routine, non-controversial. They will be acted upon by the board at one time without discussion. Any board member, staff member, or interested party may request removal of an item from the consent agenda for later discussion. Okay, any member of the public want to pull a consent agenda item? Any member of the board want to pull a consent agenda item?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
I'll second.
Can I talk about the code compliance issue?
You need to pull the item.
I'm pulling item number 19.
Didn't you already take a vote?
No,
No.
we didn't take a
We
vote.
have a motion and a second on
Voted,
that.
yeah.
Can you still pull it?
Can you
There's
tell
a
me about
motion and a
that?
second?
I have an issue to pull too.
Okay, what number?
Number 16
Okay.
and number 14.
All right, I'll readjust my motion to, as I was about to say, I make a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda item.
Okay, so we'll get to it.
Are we gonna, can we vote on that first? And then go to the items?
Yes. Okay, can I have a second on that, please?
I'll second.
So, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda except for 14, 16, and 19. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, number 14. Mike?
14, authorize the purchase of a trailer for public health emergency preparedness. Hi, how are you, Mr. Sawicki? I understand after reading through the board packet that you're requesting a trailer for the Arnold area to store emergency preparedness equipment.
Yes.
So and we have one in San Andreas and one in the Angels Camp area, is that correct?
Yeah, what we've been doing this past year, especially that we learned as a result of the Butte fire, is to try and put supplies, public health supplies, should there be emergency, in the various areas. And we did have some extra money in this particular budget, so that is what we are asking to do, is to purchase the trailer so we can place it, one more item of preparedness, shall we say, for emergencies.
What are those items?
They're all the public health supplies that we would need in the event of an emergency. And by the way, we do have a whole inventory list of those, and I can have those sent to you if you like.
No, I just want to know what
Yeah, they're
what
all
they are.
medical supplies.
Oh, they're medical
Yeah,
supplies?
this is for a medical emergency.
Okay, and we actually, as I understand it, we had budgeted for a vehicle?
This is
And
for a
this is
trailer.
excess money from the purchase of that original vehicle?
Yeah, the money is strictly for the trailer with the supplies. We do move the various, we have within Health and Human Services, a pickup truck already.
Okay, maybe I'm confused. There was a budgeted amount to buy a vehicle, and we didn't expend all that money?
Right.
We had $5,000 left over, and we're going to buy the trailer
Thereabouts.
with that?
We have money left over in the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant.
Okay, all right, that's all I have.
Okay, any public comments?
I realized at the last board, Peter Rage, Jenny Lynn, I realized at the last board meeting, you folks passed a consent item that we are prepared for Ebola, and yes, you did.
I didn't understand you, sir.
The Ebola, the thing that went all over the world,
That's,
from Africa, remember, they sent
It's not on
3,000.
this agenda item now.
Yes, it is, because that was just passed, that we prepared for it. And we're prepared for influenza. That was on the agenda too also. Now, I haven't heard anybody who's prepared for that mosquito that's coming up from South America. That's the newest thing that's supposed to be coming all over the United States. Some of you can put in more detail. Is there a reason we're not getting prepared for that? I mean, the counties ready for everything else. That mosquito that's coming up from the south that's caused birth defects.
So,
Zika virus.
yeah, so,
Yes.
Mary, does this Public Health Services agenda item, with the Public Health Emergency Preparedness trailer, does it include items like that?
We keep all of the serums, et cetera, they're at public health, they have to be stored in a certain way. It would not be in a trailer. no.
So this trailer is for emergencies like we just went through, and
Yes, and if people were injured, et cetera, there's a whole variety of things, the blood pressure cuffs, the bandages, you name it.
all right. So that would be actually on a different agenda item if it were to come up, right?
Yes, and the funds that were for Ebola have now been switched over to the Zika virus preparation.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve item 14.
Second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Wright, second by Supervisor Olivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Go ahead. Mr. Olivera, number 16.
16. Once again, Mrs. Wiki.
Yes, I'm coming, I'm looking for the item
Okay.
right in front of me. All right.
I understand this to be an additional amount of agreement with Modesto Residential Living Center as an amount not to exceed $85,000.
Yes, through January of 2018.
Do you recall a question the board had, specifically Supervisor Kearney and I, regarding a $658,000 amount for in-care for our patients? Is this part of that program?
Now, the money is money that is a mixture of some of the realignment, but also Medi-Cal funding. And because remember, we're a managed care for the carve-out for severely mentally ill. This money would be for the residential treatment facility care. And this is a specific contract with this facility. It is not the one you talked about earlier. It's not the same facility. It's a different facility.
Which is the difference? Is one in physical health care
No,
versus mental health care? or
no,
something
this
along
is
those lines?
strictly a mental health board agenda item.
I'm sorry, I missed
It's
that.
strictly a mental health board agenda item.
Mental health. And the
Yes.
other one we talked about back 4 months ago was not mental health.
Let's talk about the living room.
The living room?
No, there was a
The living room's totally
$658,000.
different. We actually run the
Yeah,
living
I
room.
don't know, but can we go ahead and approve this?
I apologize. My memory,
Sure.
some days,
Why not, Chris? Go ahead.
We can always look it up later.
Yeah, I'll
When
talk
we
to you
don't have,
privately on it.
everybody here.
I'd be more than happy to try and
I'll-
find
I'll
an
give you a
answer if
call.
you,
I'll give you a call.
but separate from this item.
All right, I'll give you a call.
Thank you, Mike. All right, I appreciate that.
Waiting for any public comments?
I'll make a motion to approve item 16.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Wright, second by Supervisor Ponte. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. So number 19.
Good evening, Todd Boyer with Code Compliance. This particular property that we're bringing today was part of a trust. There were 4 or 5 owners on the property when it started. There was illegal camping that was going on the property. There were structures that were built that were illegal. There was also illegal disposal of sewage and junk and debris. In short, it was just a complete mess, and one of the members of the family had started bringing on a bunch of different people and basically kind of colonizing the place, I guess, for a lack of a better description.
Where's the address?
This is actually off of John East Trail in West Point. It does not have a situs address. I'm sorry I didn't. It doesn't have an assigned address at this point. Yeah, it's just it's a mess. So what happened was we notified property owners. They acknowledged. At one point, the property owners that had actually been paying the taxes and being responsible for the property over all these years, took a crew and garbage bins and bins up there to clean the property and to remove all the trailers, and their lives were threatened and they were run off. Apparently that happened on a couple of different occasions. Therefore, they quit cleaning the property, said we want nothing to do with this, we don't want to deal with this anymore, and they left it to the remainder of the trust, and we have talked to them in person, and they have refused to respond in any way.
Okay. Thank you. Any public comments on that?
Question? Peter Reyes, Jenny Lynn. I want to thank them, they did a good job. Who keeps track of condition of developments? How many outstanding condition of developments has not been satisfied? Because I know, hey, bad situation happening. But there was a couple of developments that, are they all up to the required condition of the development and finished that anybody inspected? I took some drives, okay, near businesses. And the roads, for the capacity that they supposed to use, are not quite up to code. Does that ever get checked?
So is, sorry, is this in regards to this particular, okay, thank you, Peter. Any other public comments?
I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 19.
Okay. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Supervisor Wright, second by Supervisor Ponte. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Supervisor announcements. Who wants to go first?
I don't have anything to report.
Another report.
Okay.
I'll defer until next meeting.
Supervisor Ponte?
I'll be attending an EMS meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at Copperopolis Firehouse. And I'll be going to Sacramento on Thursday to meet with Bigelow in regards to transportation funding, along with my counterpart Supervisor Kearney and another group of delegates from the COG.
I have nothing to report. Anybody else?
Question, Chair, before we adjourn. Is there a vehicle where we can bring up on an agendized item discussion regarding the ordinance issues that we did discuss as far as what we decided other than the urgency ordinance?
I think you probably need to talk to County Council about that.
Okay.
Okay. All adjourned.
Hey, guys, thank you very much.